An estimated 10,000 people showed up in the city of Providence to protest the death of George Floyd and looking for change. I'm Mike Montecalvo.
And I'm Shannon Heggie. We have been covering this all night since it started at 4:30, a peaceful protest of, like Mike said, thousands of people organized by teenagers. Important to note, one of those teenagers told us last night, one of those organizers, that she thought maybe 1,000 people would show up. Never did she imagine what we've seen. We want to go live to Eyewitness News reporter Courtney Carter, who has been at these protests all night. Courtney, what are you seeing now?
Well, it's quite loud out here now, and I want to bring you guys back to this dancing and singing. We just missed it. They were all taking a knee here in solidarity. And I told you, they've been dancing, they've been singing. You hear those African drums. You may be able to hear it, the steel band. They're just taking a break right now. They were just kneeling, as I just told you. And as I mentioned before, it's rooted in sadness and kind of some darkness this week and a half. But it's a celebration, too, a celebration of coming together. People are finally listening to us. And I've been speaking to Black Lives Matter Rhode Island all this week, and they told me this time feels different. Now, people have protested for injustice before, and it kind of dies down, they say, and nothing changes. But they're saying that this time just feels different, and everyone thinks this time is different. It's a different kind of spark here. And I also want to know, I've been seeing a lot of rainbow shirts, rainbow masks, because I want to note that it's not just straight Black lives that matter, it's also the lives of LGBT Black lives that matter also.
We want to go now to Eyewitness News reporter Kim Kalunian. Kim, what can you tell us?
Well, Shannon, right now we're giving you a live look at the remaining crowd here at the Rhode Island State House. You can see all of them have taken a knee, many of them holding their fists up in a sign of Black power. The speakers here at this point, very impassioned. You know, earlier we knew that there was going to be a speaking program, but we couldn't really hear it just because of the sheer size of the crowd. And now that we are closer, now that many of the folks have decided to head back to Kennedy Plaza and other areas of the city, we're getting a better chance to hear what's being said here. These folks are fed up, they're tired, and they want change, and that's what they're calling for. You can hear them chanting Black Lives Matter. And again, the energy here, even though the crowd is smaller, the energy has not died down. So again, we're expecting the crowd to continue to thin as we approach the 9 o'clock curfew. But these folks are remaining here, continuing to chant, continuing this protest here outside of the Rhode Island State House tonight. Mike and Shannon.
I know they're shouting Black Lives Matter, but we saw a diversity today, and we heard it from Police Chief Hugh Clements, too. It's not, you know, just the African-American community that was there.
It's so true. This is an extremely diverse crowd in terms of race and age. Lots of different folks represented here today, and we were just speaking a short time ago with a young woman whose brother lost his life in police custody down in Georgia, a Rhode Islander who died in police custody in Georgia. And she was saying, yes, Black Lives Matter, but all lives matter. And so that message is not being lost here tonight. Of course, this is a Black Lives Matter rally, but the folks here tonight know how important everyone's support is, and they know that things can't change without the support of course, other races. And so it is really remarkable to see the diversity here, the representation of all ages, neighborhoods, socioeconomic class. It's all here tonight in front of the Rhode Island State House. And again, the whole point of this is to come together, to unify, to see eye to eye. So it's really on display here right now tonight.
Let's go to Sheena Lasciuto. She has been high up, and she has got a great vantage point of all the people that are still there. This is, I believe, Kennedy Plaza, right, Sheena?
Yeah, that's right. I'm high and above Kennedy Plaza. I've been kind of looking around for all the action here, and right now it's right here in front of It's in front of City Hall here in Providence. And a few minutes ago, we missed it. They were moving too fast for my live shot, but it seemed to me like there was an organized march of people going through here. They walked back through here and then just through kind of towards, I believe that's Memorial Boulevard over there. I don't know if they were all marching back to their cars together, but it was once again a sea of people. And you can see over here, it was in the first shot that I showed you, there are some police officers here with the crowd, and I thought this was kind of interesting. It seems like people are stopping on their way back and putting their signs up against this wall. A lot of them say Black Lives Matter. I told you guys before, there's one that said Happy Birthday Breonna Taylor. So a lot of people are stopping and putting their signs here throughout the march, or on their way back from the march, I guess, and kind of leaving their mark. And there's just dozens of them now, and it seems like the wall of signs here just keeps getting bigger. I see a lot of people taking pictures with the other signs up on that fence, so that is pretty cool to see. So earlier I saw a kind of march of people come by again. It seems like the movement is done for now, and people are just kind of hanging out in this area. I, of course, will keep an eye on that and let you guys know if anything changes.
Thank you, Sheena. We want to go now to Eyewitness News reporter Courtney Carter. Earlier, Courtney had... Oh, we don't have Courtney. I apologize for that. I want to talk about what she was saying earlier, though, because she said, you know, it's been a week, and we felt it so much in the news that it's been a week of tension. It's been a week of some violence. And she had a moment in the crowd after the crowd had started dispersing where they were playing music and singing One Love. And it just seems like there was joy behind her after the hard week that we've had. And we want to go live now to Courtney where maybe that music is still playing. Courtney?
Hi, Shannon. Yes, it was a bit loud here. They're not playing music anymore. They are talking. I'm going to move out of the way so you can see. They're all taking a knee, and they're talking about how they feel. They're sharing personal stories, saying enough is enough. Not sure if you guys can hear this right now, but it's a pretty powerful image. Pretty much everyone is on a knee here. They're sharing how they feel, how they've been made to feel like they don't matter. They've been made to feel unequal. And they're still going here. They're still going here. I'm gonna come back to you. So as you can see, people have dispersed out of here. It was almost 10,000 people, but people are still here telling their stories and still being together. Shannon.
Courtney, can you just talk about the age group, the people behind you? We saw a lot of younger people behind Courtney. Is Courtney still there? Courtney?
Yes, I'm here. It's just a little hard to hear you sometimes, but with the chanting and the stories that they're telling here. But the age group, it's very diverse. Not just ages, races as well. I've seen pretty much everybody out here. But it's not. It was started by young people, as you mentioned, but it's families. There's children out here too. There are a lot of adults. There are older people out here marching and chanting and saying things. It's every age range out here together. Mike and Shannon.
Courtney, thank you. And as Courtney mentions, people telling their stories. One of those stories happened during our live broadcast on Eyewitness News at 6. Caroline Goggin had that story, and she joins us with more on that. Caroline?
Yeah, Shannon and Mike on Eyewitness News at 6 o'clock. I talked to a Providence firefighter by the name of Terrell. He is a young black man. He's new to the force, and he said earlier this week he was stopped by two Providence police officers, him and a visitor, outside the Providence fire station on Messer Street. And while they were there, he said that they held a gun to him. Very emotional at points as he was telling me that story. We want to get to his sound in just a few minutes, but I want to show you real quick before we do that. All of those protesters we were talking about that were at Kennedy Plaza, Central High School, then at the State House, where they gathered on the State House lawn in unity in support of social justice and equality. Those protesters, guys, they have made it here to the pedestrian bridge here in Providence. They came down Water Street altogether, thousands of people. They are now on the pedestrian bridge at this point, still chanting. There seem to be a couple of speeches being made, but really the theme of tonight is unity. And when I talked to that Providence firefighter, Terrell, he said that that's what he wants to come of everything that's transpired in our country over the last 2 weeks. He said the only way we can get unity and have change in this country is if people speak up. Here's some of what he had to say.
The other day I was outside the fire station with my friend. She was dropping off food and we were talking. And at approximately around 11:30 p.m., two cops converged on the car. I was dressed in full uniform and I had my radio on and in hand. Both officers got out the vehicle immediately and drew their guns. The officer on the driver's side started screaming, "Where's the gun? Is there a gun? Where's there a gun?" And I was like, "I'm a firefighter. I'm PFD. I'm one of you. I'm a firefighter." And they still kept approaching the vehicle, guns drawn. As I attempted to exit the vehicle, the officer yelled to get back in. And I continued to exit the vehicle, and I was pledging, "I'm a firefighter. I'm one of you. Don't shoot."
It's obviously this is an emotional moment.
The white cop then asked again, after identifying me as a promised firefighter, "Is there a gun in the vehicle?" And I said, "I'm not allowed to carry a firearm while I'm on duty. I'm an essential worker, and I'm not breaking curfew." As the white cop saw what was progressing, he told the black cop to move on and get out the way. The black cop left hastily, and as I watched, a third patrol car left the scene. The white officer then asked in turn if he could search the vehicle, and the driver consented to a search. The officer then searched the passenger side, never checked the driver's side, nor did he ask for identification. He then proceeds to continue on and search the back. He then stated that due to the amount of stuff that's in the back, he doesn't want to make a fuss and inconvenience us with our time. He then hastily gets in the vehicle and drove on. At approximately 3:00 a.m., a police sergeant came by himself to the fire station. The police sergeant stated that he received the body cam footage of the incident that took place of the two police officers and myself outside the fire station, and he wanted to apologize for what the two officers had done. But yet, the two officers were not present. Sincerely, firefighters Rhode Island.
And we're back out here live at the pedestrian bridge in Providence right now, live at the pedestrian bridge where these protesters, at least half of the group, seems to be dispersing at this point, chanting things like Black Lives Matter, no justice, no peace, happy birthday to Breonna Taylor. What you guys didn't see after that live interview at 6 o'clock was a young white woman came up to Terrell after we got off air. She looked at him, she grabbed his hands, and she hugged him. And when she pulled back, she said, "I don't know you, but I love you." Back to you guys.
Caroline, thank you very much, and I think his story is going to resonate over the next several days, not just for what happened to him, but what the change that needs to be made.
And we should mention, too, there was a response from the Providence Fire Chief as well on Twitter. Do we still have Caroline live right now? Can she hear us? We do. Caroline, can you talk more about that response that we saw on Twitter tonight? Caroline, can you hear me?
Can you guys hear me? Okay, you got me. All right. So that response, Shannon, was from the head of the firefighters union, Derek Silva. I'm going to look at my phone because I want to read a little bit of what he had to say. He said, "This situation makes clear that even in uniform, a young black man is not immune from the impact of systemic institutional racism. While we value our working relationship with the Providence Police and know there are many officers who are working to change police culture, this incident proves that there is more work to be done." Again, that was the response to the situation with Terrell from the head of the Providence Firefighters Union, Derek Silva, who I spoke with earlier this afternoon, shortly after that live interview I did with Terrell. I still do have to reach out to the Providence Police Department, and as soon as we get a response from them, we will, of course, update all of you guys at home. Back to you guys.
All right, Caroline, thank you very much. And as you can see, this sea of people, they've left Kennedy Plaza and the State House. They're still in the city of Providence. Colonel Clements is hoping they go home. Let's go live to Eyewitness News reporter Kim Kalunian, who's still near the State House. Kim?
Yeah, Mike and Shannon, it's kind of remarkable to hear Caroline reporting from the Providence pedestrian bridge. I mean, it just gives you an idea of the size and scope of this protest. These protesters are now sort of scattered in different pockets throughout the city. You can see behind me here, there are still, I don't know, maybe a couple of hundred protesters left on the steps of the State House. They are chanting, they are impassioned. It seems as though maybe they are expressing their anger a little bit as well as they call for change, chanting things like Black Lives Matter and calling for an end to systemic racism, as Caroline was just talking about. And then over here in the middle of Francis Street, right in front of the Providence Place Mall, another smaller gathering has sort of happened, I think, as folks were starting to leave from the State House. They just sort of stopped, took a knee. Some folks are speaking. So another sort of impromptu gathering here as this larger Black Lives Matter protest breaks up. And earlier this afternoon, I spoke with two of the young women, a 17-year-old and a 19-year-old, who helped bring this whole thing together. I asked them what it was like to see roughly 10,000 people come here for this protest here today. All right, and we'll get to that sound in just a little bit, but basically what they said was, we never expected this, but it just shows you how important this issue is and what people think of it now. You know, I was talking to someone else who was here at the protest earlier who lost her brother in custody, in police custody in Georgia, and she was saying, it's different now. Maybe it's because of social media and the fact that so many of these incidents are being caught on camera, but she feels a change. And as we talked with police and even other reporters who are here on the scene, they said they've never seen anything quite like this, estimating 10,000 people here at the State House today for this protest. Yeah, and we're here again in the middle of Francis Street. You can see this group here that's just sort of stopped in the middle of the road here behind us. And as Caroline was reporting from the pedestrian bridge, it's clear that these pockets of protesters are now just sort of just walking around the city, maybe engaging in some dialogue, some impromptu speeches, making their voices heard, showing signs that read Black Lives Matter, Happy Birthday, Breonna Taylor. You can see right now there's a group congregated here outside of the Providence Place Mall, just in the middle of what would normally be a busy street, completely shut down by this unprecedented protest here in the capital city tonight. Now, this road is closed off by the National Guard. Let's walk over here and take a look at some of the security measures. I was talking with Providence Police Chief Colonel Hugh Clements earlier, and he said, you know, they just want to make sure that...
You got a voice.
Hey there, how are you? Let's chat in just a little second, all right? I'm going over here. Come walk with us. Protesters want to make their voices heard. And so I want to show you some of the security that is here in order to try and keep this a safe protest. The National Guard here in full military gear with rifles. We're going to absolutely talk to you in just a second. All right, we'll talk about it.
Change? Are you out here to make change?
Here, let's talk to you. What's your name?
Are you out here to make change?
Sir, I'm a reporter, so tell me what you're here for.
My name is Sai. I'm a graphic designer, photographer. I'm out here to support everything that's going on right now, Black Lives Matter, or FRIP. But I just want to say, if we want to make change, we need to boycott. We need to stop the money flow. That's what T.I. is talking about when he put that post out. Tomorrow, no black man, no black woman, don't spend no money. Everybody, if you support this movement, don't spend no money tomorrow. We're talking boycott.
Calling for a blackout tomorrow.
The only way you're going to get change is by stopping the money flow. That's it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I just want to get out there.
Yeah. Okay. So calling.
I don't know who this is or who you are.
We're with Channel 12. What was your name again?
Sai. S-I.
Thank you, Sai.
Silence.
All right. Silence calling for a blackout tomorrow, boycott in spending. Just one of the many messages here tonight. And again, we've got heavy security here all around the mall and the State House. Police are hoping to avoid a repeat of what happened earlier this week when there was violence, looting, rioting in the streets. They want to avoid that. There is that 9 o'clock curfew. So they said by 8:30, they're going to start asking people to head home. Back to you.
Kim, before we leave, Kim, if we can get her back up. Kim, the governor said she's supported the rally today and the peaceful protest, but we're coming off some challenging times here. For almost 3 months, we've had to deal with COVID-19. People have lost their jobs. So many people have died. So it's been a real challenging time. People watching this are going to wonder, were people being careful? Were they wearing masks? And it seems like so many people that we see did have masks on.
Yeah, Mike, that is a great question and something we haven't really had a chance to talk about just with the sheer number of people and everything going on. Most people that I have seen here, you can see it for yourselves. They are wearing their masks. Social distancing, however, seems to be out the window. That 6-foot guidance, not many people staying 6 feet apart. But as you can imagine, with upwards of 10,000 people gathered in a single space, there's not going to be a lot of room for people to spread out. Now, I asked the governor about this earlier this week. I said, look, Governor, some people might be frustrated to see these large gatherings happening in the name of Black Lives Matter when they can't have a backyard barbecue, a graduation, a wedding. And she says, look, the public health guidance remains the same. Social gatherings are still limited to 15 people or fewer. Obviously not what we saw here today, but she is encouraging people to avoid these large crowds. And she also said, if you're a young person here today who has an older relative that you live with, think twice before you come to something like this. The spread of coronavirus is still very much on the minds of state leaders and health officials. Earlier today, I don't know if they're still there, but there was a table set up by the Rhode Island Department of Health, as promised, manned with volunteers who are handing out information and masks because they want to try and stem the spread of this virus. We're still in the middle of this pandemic, but these folks say we're not going to wait until the pandemic is over to have our voices heard, so that's why they're here tonight.
I believe our Sheena Lusciuto has a viewpoint from above of some of that police presence as well, and it's just they have to take the precautions right now and make sure that what happened Monday night doesn't happen again. Thankfully, today, since 4:30, has all been peaceful.
Sheena?
Yeah, that's right. And on the way here, right now I'm in Kennedy Plaza, but on the way here you could just see all of the businesses. Oops, my shot is a little strange right now, so let me get out of here. It's hard to zoom in and talk and use the camera at the same time, but on the way to Providence today, you could just see all of the businesses just boarded up tonight, just in case is kind of the mentality that a lot of people have chosen to take. Now, here in Kennedy Plaza, I'm seeing a lot of what my colleagues are seeing as well, kind of pockets of people. And at the beginning of my live shot, there was a group of police officers just kind of standing around here, but they kind of moved away. I was trying to follow them when my camera shot kind of got a little bit confusing, but yeah, so a lot of people here just kind of dispersed all around the area. Was for a lot of people. There were hundreds and hundreds of people here, all dressed in black with their signs, and they were back here probably about half an hour or so. They were marching back towards the city. I believe Caroline saw that group near the pedestrian bridge. That's kind of where they were going. But right now I'm just seeing a lot of people still walking around with their signs. And I mentioned this earlier, but a lot of them are putting their signs on a fence here near Kennedy Plaza just to kind of make their mark and make sure their message lives on for the rest of the night. Back to you guys.
All right, Sheena, thank you very much. And just to recap everything that happened here this afternoon in Kennedy Plaza, it actually started this peaceful protest that started by teenagers over at Central High School in Providence. It started there. I think people were starting to gather there around 3 o'clock. They made their way through Kennedy Plaza, and by 4:30, according to Hugh Clements, the police chief in Providence, about 10,000 people were in front of the State House to protest the death of George Floyd.
And as our reporters have been saying, 10,000 people of all different races, ages, backgrounds, all coming together with the same message to ask for change, to call for change.